I just love the drama.
Biggest U-turn since winter fuel allowance.
Cut that.
Because loose lips sink ships.
And what the fans want is to stop teams being owned by madmen.
Listen, you're really making a mess here. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. We're getting really cross with you.
The sticky patch came when the rest of the team's sticky patch came, which was sort of January onwards.
Grumble, boobs joke, hot ones.
No, let me tell you, I don't have to look at this objectively at all.
The Wednesday week!
Put on your podcast!
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday week, which is going to be needlessly upbeat because we are unbeaten after Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. We have no losses, no L's, no big fat zeros after the Christmas period. So put that on your Christmas dinner. Joining me tonight, I've got Stevie, Ash, and Tom. We've not done one together before, have we?
No. Yeah, a few sub appearances, but drafted in to play alongside the main man in centre midfield this evening.
There is no centre midfielding from me, mate. My entire football career was me shouting my own name and edit back where it came from. That's pretty much how it worked, right? Stevie, that's how it goes, isn't it? That's centre back in 101, isn't it?
100%. That's all we ever did.
I was either a left back or a goalkeeper, Dan. So I
tell you what, to bring you into a little secret, Tom, Stevie, they're one of the worst things I've ever done. Now, this is going to shock you, but my mouth can get me in trouble sometimes, right? I know. Embrace yourself, please. Hold tight. And Ash and I were sub for a game, weren't we? Bear in mind we were mid to late 30s at this point as well. And yeah, right. It's got shookethness. Clutch your pearls on this one, kids. And the assistant gaffer was running the subs and running the line because the gaffer was on the pitch. He was playing centre mid, and the assistant gaffer turned around to me and Ash and went, "It just need a bit of needle this game, didn't it? You know what I mean? It was tentative. It was only something like 2-1 and all the rest of it." And the assistant gaffer goes, "Right, Fudge Rogers, you pair are going to go on up front." And me and him looked at each other, giddy as piss. Like this never happens. This absolutely never. Well, up front, it was going to be carnage. And just as we were stripping down, there was a ropey tackle in the middle of the park, and it was on the gaffer. And everybody's in arms as there's the pushing and shoving, and apparently he'd injured himself because the geezer's gone over the top of the ball. And somebody turned around from their team and went, "Oh, we're going to have to call this off." And I've shouted, and I'll tone it down in case you're with the kids, "Get out of here, you. We'll just drag him off." Right?
Roll him off pitch. Roll him off.
Just roll him off. We'll be fine. Because me and Ash are giddy about playing up front, right? You know what I mean? And turned out he'd snapped his tib and fib. Yeah. And there's me
there were 3 bends in his leg.
Yeah.
Me and Dan going absolutely mental on the sideline. Come on, we can get on. We can do something in this game. We can get something back. Yeah, and they had to get an ambulance and the lot. So it got called off. Yeah. Still walks with a limp, I think.
So right then. So listen, there's been two games, ladies and gents, that Sheffield Wednesday have played this week, and it's been a positive week. There's been a number of positives to take away. There's been no wins. It's been weird. Been the season that we're having. I feel like 2 draws isn't the worst thing to happen. The first one that came up on Boxing Day was a game at home against Hull City. Tom, this is the lineup against Hull. So you've got Pearce, Charles, Palmer, Iorfa, Cooper, Otabeo, Amas, Ingleson, Thornton, Bannon, J-Lo and Cad starting up front. This is starting to become, because of AFCON, pretty much our starting 11, right? You'd argue that, wouldn't you?
Well, this is it. Who else we got?
Well, yeah.
Max Lowe's done a little bit of a vanishing one, and we've got a couple of representatives at AFCON. So yeah, we have got what we've got. I mean, I think the biggest enlightening change in that is seeing Jarvis Thornton in the middle. That was the biggest change there that we dropped in. But yeah, who else is sort of that? The last man standing in Guess Who a little bit is, has he got brown hair, glasses and a beard because he's playing on Saturday? It's like, who else?
Well, yeah. I mean, we'll get into the next game in a bit, but that we got a comment there from Izzy saying it's pretty much the only 11 we have. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I tell you what, let's get the bench up, shall we? On the bench, we had Horvath, Emery, McGhee, Johnson, Allow, Shipston. On Aculi, right? Granger and Moses. On Aculi did get a run out, and I guess we'll get into that in a bit. However, Ash, prior to this game on Boxing Day, I was a little tad optimistic. Were you?
Yeah, I think I got down in the predictions. I think I got 1-1 down, I believe. So I did think we might get something out of it. But I think that was just blind hope of a Christmas miracle rather than I believed in the starting 11 or the squad of 18 that we've got. Because those substitutes you just named then, apart from Horvath, you've got an average age of probably 17 and 289 days or something like that, haven't you? It's threadbare. So, a bit optimistic. I know Hull, I think they started fourth in the league, so they're in some pretty good form themselves. And I don't like Hull for no particular reason, apart from, and I know this is Stevie's bugbear over the last week, that shit mauled by the Tigers. So, for no other reason, and that's petty as a Sheffield Wednesday fan, but that's where I'm at. I'm all in petty.
I did like the back and forth that we had during that day when we said to them, where they said we saw you crying on Wembley Way, and we said, "Fuck off, you weren't even there." I did enjoy that. That was that was quite fun for me. But I mean, Ash is right there, Stevie. Right? They were flying high. They were doing bits. They were 4 unbeaten. They were 4th in the league, and there was a degree of trepidation there. However, you yourself predicted a 3-1 loss. We weren't very optimistic in the predictions, apart from Charlie, who I assume must have been pissed up when she said it was going to be a 2-0 home win. You must have had a degree of trepidation there, right?
Yeah. I think for me personally, it was more around the fact that I listened to the Hello from the Other Side, and they came in onto the preview. You listen to the preview, and he spoke really well about the way they set up, the formation, the fact that they are just traditional 4-4-2. They're going to play with 2 up top, and they're just going to pepper crosses into the box. And if you look at our back line at the moment, we knew that Lowe was going to be out. We knew we'd be struggling. I think he's done all right over the last couple of games, but I'm not a massive Otto Bayo fan. It's horses for courses, and we've got to put the team in that we've got, and has been documented already. We can only put out the players that are there on the pitch. Available in the squad. But I was a little bit concerned because they're flying high. I wasn't expecting too much. I just think we're knackered at the moment. I don't see where we're scoring goals from, even though we got 2 in the end. And I don't see, like I said, I just think we're really tired at the moment. And anybody that comes at us and gives us, full pelt, full throttle when we're out of possession of the ball, I think he's going to have the upper hand at the moment. But I thought, without all things being equal, I thought we played really well on Boxing Day.
Yeah, we did. Tom, I remember saying to you at the time that the start of the game, we were hell for leather for the first 20 minutes. I thought we went absolutely at them, didn't we? We give it the beans. We turned up and we chased them down. And for that first period, Hull offered very, very little. I think there was one where we chested it off the line in that first period. But apart from that, they didn't really, they were not the team in fourth, were they?
No, I think, to be fair, there's been a few games like that this year where we've come out the blocks pretty well in the first sort of 10, 15, and then we tend to get this sucker punch. But yeah, we were a bit air and scare them at best of times, our defended is. But yeah, I think we did all right that first 20. We looked all right, we looked positive, got on the front foot. We kind of went at them. I think we'll get on to last night, but to be fair, in the contrast, last night's 20 minutes, not too dissimilar. So yeah, I think we kind of come out of it and go, right, well, we better score first, because if we don't score first and they score, then I think it's pretty much good night. So I think Pedersen's got them sort of fired up coming out of the traps, and whether we run out of legs at 35 minutes or not, I think he's banking on trying to get an early goal. And he kind of almost got there, doesn't he?
Nearly. But let's talk about our first one from the assist master himself, the man in the sticks, Ash. He did this a couple of times during the game where he took a touch and wanted to play it out. Now, there's an element of, yes, his brother Shay plays at a very high level with the ball at his feet, and there's no way that that Pierce hasn't been playing with the ball at his feet at some point. So, he's got the best distribution on a goalkeeper I've seen in a long time. Then he took a touch, sent McBurney for a bag of chips, and then, in fact, tell us about it, Ash. Tell us about the goal.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it plenty of time, and I think you've mentioned it, Dan, before over the years on this podcast about the way that managers want us to play, and we pass it around the back, and it's bloody get it up there and all that, from Cop and all that. So, but yeah, the ball's come back every time. It always comes back, doesn't it, to the centre backs, and they pass it to Charles, and it came back that when McBurney was just a little bit too close, but he didn't panic, did he? He just switched it onto his right foot and then launched it, and you go, all right, yeah, he's just kicked it up, which is not something we've done a lot of, where Pierce has just launched it, and you think, all right, he's cleared it. He's cleared his lines. He's looked, but he hasn't, has he? He's meant that. He's seen it. He's turned McBurney, seen that Ingleson's on the shoulder, and he's let it go. And fair play to Ingleson as well, because he's got to make that run. He's got to pick it up. He picked it up, pinpoint, took a touch. The defender's on him, and he's hustling him, and then he finishes it. Good finish. I think he shins it a little bit for me. I watched it a couple of times on the replay, but
tried his best to make a mess of it, didn't he? Really?
Yeah, but I'm not giving it that because he's not a clinical finisher, is he? As anything, but we'll take it, and it was. And like Tom just said, we deserved it after the first, and it came on the 22nd minute, so just outside Tom's early 20-minute goal prediction thing. But it was just. Yeah, great to see. We deserved it. But yeah, and I know Ingleson ran over to the far side corner celebrating, but I think there were about 6 or 7 players who were in our sort of half that went over to Charles and rightly so, give him a good pat on the back, because it wasn't, watching the highlights at the time, it wasn't just to clear it into Rosehead. He meant that, and fair play. So I'll take it all day. And yeah, Ingleson, great start. What we needed, like Tom said, we needed to get that first goal. It's just a shame, how it played out.
I'm going to say something controversial on the internet, Stevie, which is not like me, but Spence Ingleson's shit at football, isn't he? However, he did get the man of the match. They voted him man of the match. The fans that we put this out to. He's not a gifted footballer in the slightest. However, he is the epitome of what goes to show if you show fight, endeavor, and leave nothing out there. And you know what? I'll give him his dues all day on that. He's not a gifted technical footballer, but then again, the modern game is all about physicality. Go on, Ash.
This coming from a guy who started the show with a story about him not even making the starting 11 in the Worksop District Sunday League. And shouting his mouth off and saying that he's got physical presence and all that on the pitch, and then really both of us having a paddy on because his mate broke his leg in 3 places and we didn't get the last 5 minutes.
Ridiculous noise, isn't it? I know. Just checking. But look, if I have to hear Danny Murphy talk about his England prowess, you can listen to me talk about my Sunday League prowess. Ash, Stevie. What do you reckon? Am I being too harsh on him? We have had a comment there saying no, Danny's basically shagged due to being overplayed. They all are. I completely agree that they are knackered, and Svante Ingleson is capable of running a lot quicker than the way he runs. You know what I mean? I completely agree, but he's not gifted as a footballer, is he? But does he need to?
I understand and appreciate the sentiment. However, I think there's a slight element of you being quite harsh. He is knackered. He was subbed on, 70 odd minutes? I think it was on Boxing Day. And if you watch him get subbed at the moment, he doesn't walk off. He doesn't jog off. He literally hobbles off the pitch. The guy's broken. At the minute, I think you can give him a little bit of a pass because of that, and I think he's tired. Like Craig has just said in the comments, he's shagged. Izzy Nick is in the comments as well. Works hard, runs a lot. He's not a world beater for sure, but we need him. I agree with that. I think he's as good as we've got. And we were out with it last night, myself and Ash, at the game together, and we've not done that for a long time. I went to Ash and sort of said, he's the kind of player, Ingleson, that next year would absolutely tear up League One. And I think
absolutely.
He would be absolutely fantastic. Long throws. He's box to box, but he's box to box in a championship level. He's going to get caught in a foot race. He'll get caught. But I think in League One, he's got all the attributes to be a player that we would revere in the same sort of level as George Byers and Will Volk when they were down there a couple of years ago. I'm not saying he's the same sort of player. I think he's got different tools to what he brings. I'll go back to the Plymouth game on the opening day of last season. That ball that he's put in the box for one of the goals, I can't remember which one, with the outside or the left foot. Outstanding. He's done it again a couple of times. Has he done that? I think he did it at Plymouth away, actually, where he's done really well. But then at the same time, you look at the goal on Boxing Day, and he's ran in front of the ball and has had to check his run. And it was almost accidental that he's dummied the defender who's gone with him and not watched the ball. And because he's then checked his run to step back and scuffed it into the bottom of the net, the bottom corner, it's a good goal, but it's almost an accidental good goal. But I can't fault the bloke. I think he gives, between him and Baz in particular, and there's a lot of you can look at. We can talk about Palmer all day long. You can talk about the amount of football that Amas is playing. You can talk. Well, I'm happy to do it because in those instances, we're talking about players that are playing 90 minutes week in, week out. And I'll stand corrected, but I think last night was the first time he's not started a game all season. And he's there and he's playing 60, 70, 80 minutes of box-to-box football on a regular basis. And that's going to take its toll. So, yeah.
I tell you what it is. I wanted to pull at the thread of whether physicality over talent sometimes is prevalent in football, in modern football, and that's what I was getting at. Because I'm happy to cheer somebody on who gives it the beans on the pitch and leaves nothing out there. But then again, you watch Barry Bannon, who since the derby has come under a lot of criticism from the fans in reference to his physicality. But you'll watch him with the football, and it's absolutely magical to watch the way you can move the ball, and I think they get the crowd excited in different ways. But Tom, let's move on to post goal and then into the Hull City goal. There was a point where Hull came back at us after the goal. I felt like we were to coin a phrase, we were under the cosh, weren't we? Until they scored, weren't we?
Yeah, and I've got to try and remember the timeline, and the memory's not that great. I'm almost sure there's one of those unintentional, intentional goalkeeper kind of struggling timeout, player goes down, treatment type off the pitch. They seem to sort of do that, I think, just after they scored, and then I don't know. I mean, we're susceptible best of times to a counter attack and a goal, and we just seem to lose track of everybody, and all of a sudden it's in the net, isn't it? But yeah, I think our nervousness of holding on to a lead is frightening at times.
It's palpable.
Big time. And not even just on the pitch. Not even just on the pitch. I mean, we get a lead and we're almost like taking a jacket spud out of the oven. You're like, oh my God, this is nuclear. What are we going to do with it? We don't quite know what to do. So yeah, we were a little bit scare him again, just trying to, I don't know, keep the sanity in the game. But yeah, it's always we just can't hold on to it. Just can't hold on to it.
But you're right though. Like around the crowd, we sit there and we're kind of nudging each other, aren't we? Going, do you reckon we can hold on to this? And there's a sense of inevitability, isn't there, about them getting one back, especially if we're in front. But that Balumi that scored, Tom, was very much their danger man. Throughout the first half, wasn't he? He was the one that was going to create something, if anything.
Even to the point, well, I mean, people know what I do on the internet. That sounds really wrong, but people know what I do on the internet. I think I turn to you, Dan, and say that Balumi is a good player, but whoever's put his name set on his shirt didn't put it on straight, and all I could see.
Oh, you ruined my day! You ruined
all
my
I could
day,
see
Tom.
all
You
game
pointed
was,
this out
was I
early
was
doors. You
watching
nudged me. It ruined my day. Couldn't unsee it after that.
Like, who's put that name on that shirt? Because it's
Pissed.
Big Ruler. Get your Big Ruler out. But yeah,
And,
good.
and, for
I mean,
people,
nice.
and for people who are listening to this, Tom has just got his 12-inch out.
20. I-
But yeah, the kid
20,
with the massive.
He's plenty.
20's plenty. The kid with the massive thighs was genuinely going to be. He was their best player. The one that looked like what's his name? That the guy who was doing the Super Bowl looked like him. Bad Bunny looks like him. Any road. Fucking hell, fudge. Let's get some adverts out, and then I'll see you the other side while you Google pictures of Baloomy from Hull and Bad Bunny.
Don't go anywhere too far. It's only time for the adverts.
So Stevie, Ash, after they scored, I don't think there was much anything to write home about. We went into the second half, it's 1-1. What are you thinking about this? I mean, we started sharp, I thought, after the interval as well. They clearly weren't filling mince pies at that point.
Yeah. Just before that, I just wanted to make a comment on their equaliser. Watched it a few times, and for all the praise I gave Pierce Charles for his assist, then to get beat by both goals at his near post, just a bit of a thingy. So, but yeah, getting done at your near post. I know it was about 15 yards out or something, so it's still hard to get down, but still, yeah. But defending first is a bit shy. Isn't it?
He managed to cut inside of Amas and I think Cooper, didn't he? Two of our better players as well. He's just gone tearing through the middle of them and gone. Yeah. I think there's a point where he actually couldn't believe he got the ball and went, "Dink, see you later." Like, oh.
Yeah. They're frustrating. I mean, so come out second half, and I thought we started the second half, first 10, 15 minutes. I thought really good. I don't know what Pedersen. I don't know if you guys know or heard, but I don't know what he's like at halftime. Pedersen, is he a shouter and a baller? He don't come across like that, or is he an arm round him? I don't know. So whatever he's saying at halftime, it seemed to have just kicked something into him and say, look, I don't know, just go out with the first 10, 15 of the second like you did the first, and we'll be right. And I think the 60th minute was it? I think it's something like that we scored. So yeah. I thought the first 10, 15 minutes, second half, really good again. Front foot. So there were a couple of mislaid passes, but I think we're seeing that quite a lot now. We've just said about how knackered they are.
They are knackered. Yeah.
If you look at the stats for pass completion, we are quite low in that. And I'm not the stats man, but
that was the PG-13 of Ash saying the phrase he normally says, which is actually shocked me. You can say it, Ash. Go on.
No. Don't want to, mate. I'm going to start as like now as I mean to go on for next year. I'm going to be less sweary and more positive.
Did you hear Simon last week? He was effing and jeffing all over the shop, wasn't he? I tell you what. Let's Stevie. Let's talk about the goal then. So again, Sheffield Wednesday were never behind in this game, and that was really odd for us. We didn't know what to do because we're so broken, we're so downtrodden, we're so tentative, and when I say we, that's players and fans and everybody involved with the club. It's a real odd position to be in, to be winning, but we were doing it twice. You know what I mean? But tell us about the second goal.
No, I agree with you. I think there's the bigger picture is it's going to be a real monkey to get off our back. This sort of how to react to being in front in going forwards, isn't it? But the goal in question, it's Cadamartri, and I've not been. I'll be the first to admit I've not been his biggest fan in recent weeks. I think there have been times where he's made the wrong choice or he's technically not done the right things. But I thought he took the goal really well. I think the build-up play was really good. I do. Do you know what? I think he's took it well. There was a similar one last night with Bannon. that really pissed Ash off. When he
will
missed
get
his...
to that. I can't. Oh, swore.
We'll
Sorry.
get to it.
That lasted 2 minutes.
This is what Bannon does to Ash, by the way.
Happy New Year, Ash.
Ash is -1 in his New Year's resolution.
Put the 10 pence in the box.
Swear box.
Sorry, Mum. Sorry, Mum.
Days without nonsense meme.
The ball from Bannon over the top was Bannon at his best, and I know he's much maligned at times by certain sections of the fan base because he'll look for things that are more complex and will be quite difficult to execute at times. When it doesn't come off, he sets himself up for getting a little bit of aggro criticism. But I thought that ball over the top was absolutely phenomenal, right on the plate for Cads, and he made it very, very easy. The keeper's come out, and I thought personally, I'm a defender, I'm not a striker, but he had a decision to make. Is he going to slot it under the keeper? Is he going to look to take a touch and hammer it, or is he going to look to just loft it over the keeper? On this occasion, he went with option 3, and he just chipped it into the top corner. I thought it was a really well taken goal. If you want it back,
just gonna have to take umbrage with you there. You said really well taken goal, and what were the options? You can slot it home, hook it over the keeper. What were the other ones? He
slot it underneath the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
He can take a touch and hammer it, or he can go right. I'm gonna loft it over the goalkeeper.
I feel that he did all 3. I think, but what it was you saying, I think he did really well. For me, well, looking at it, I think what we got was a striker's version of Svante Ingolson in the first half. I thought he made an arseholes of it, and I think the touch he took to change feet was mental. I think a proper striker would have just beansed it straight in first time. And then when he hit it with his right foot, it was far too close to the keeper. And I think the keeper should have done better with it. And he should not be going to the top of the net that close to the goal. I remember when he put it in thinking, Christ, we've got away with one there. That's really weird what you took away from it. And that's what I took.
Listen, the first thing I've said, mate, is that I've been on this podcast in the last few weeks and said I would start Ugbo over Cadamartri. Take the injuries and everything else away. I've been at that level with him, and I think the goal, was it perfect? No, it's a goal he scored, but then the impact that's had on his game for the next 10-15 minutes, he seemed like a different player. I thought he grew in confidence. But I do. I think if you look at the I think it was the Preston game where he could have squared it to Jamal Lowe and he's made the wrong choice and he's just smashed it straight at the keeper. Or there's been times where he's gone to strike through the ball and he's made an absolute dog's dinner of it. You compare that goal that he scored on Boxing Day to the other opportunities that he's had in the last month or so, and I think he steps up there, and I thought he'd done well. At the end of the day, he scored a goal. We've gone 2-1 up, and I think for Cadamartri, I nearly called him Danny Cadamartri then. For Cadamartri, by his current sort of form and state, I thought he'd done really well.
All right, Steve, here's one. Does Ugbo score it?
You bastard.
I tell you what, Tom, you've just absolutely undone Stevie's measured responses of the last month there. You've absolutely
right.
No, he doesn't.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't back him to score at the moment, and I mean this with the greatest respect, because you've got to. I wouldn't back Ugbo to score in any scenario at the moment. Having said that, Cadamartri has been in situations where he's been at least as wasteful as the man that we absolutely get after week in, week out. And that's where I would go back to Ugbo, because I'm just thinking at that point we're going before Boxing Day and it's all after the Lord Mayor's parade a little bit now, isn't it? But the reason that I say that is that Cadamartri, like we've been talking about, like the running theme of the podcast at the moment tonight and in previous weeks, these players are knackered and we're not changing enough. And I don't know if we'll get onto it later on after we've done the Blackburn, if we've got a hot topic or anything like that. But the timing and the delay on making changes and substitutions at the moment is my biggest bugbear with watching the club. Because
I agree with that.
The kids are knackered, and we'll flash forward very quickly and we'll come back to it, but we had 2 lads stood for 7-8 minutes waiting to
92
come on
minutes
last
last
night,
night.
and in the 89th, 90th minute, he's gone, right, get stripped, and did nothing with it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and
sorry
just going back
about
to does Ugbo score it? I'm pretty much sure Pervader set a similar one up for Ugbo back in
Same
that
end.
Yeah, I'm pretty, and Ugbo did the same thing and sort of made it look harder than it should have been, and rifled it just under the crossbar. I'm pretty sure that were a goal that he scored. I might just be making that up, but it seemed very familiar.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
I won't trust Ugbo to score in the late 90s in Tivoli with 15 quid all you can drink.
Now,
if he's got a Ben Sherman on though, maybe.
Yeah, has he got the washing instructions on the outside of his Ben Sherman? I mean, that is a deal breaker.
Some pods on or some kickers on or something like that. You might be all right.
Was it offside, Ash?
Not that I've seen, but I've tried to look at other angles for the highlights and stuff, but I can't see one that'll definitively say. But I don't think he was from initially where I was sat.
Jamal Lowe was miles off, and there'd be an argument, Tom, of them saying he's interfering with play, but you and I thought he was miles off.
At the time, we thought he was miles off, didn't we? And I'm looking around going,
we've got away with one there.
There's a flag here coming.
I tell you what was interesting. We were watching the lino, weren't we? And they put it on the screen, and you've got the lino just staring up, and we're thinking, oh God, we're going to have this again. We're going to have this again. I don't want this. So anyway, what I did, I made a point of getting the infographic ready, and he's on. He's on. If you use the edge of the 18-yard box to take a look at that, if I just remove the comments from the screen, ladies and gents, I'm sorry if you're listening in the car, but there is a player on the edge of the 18. Their fullback Hughes, just playing him on, and then the other centre back.
He's foot on the line, hasn't he? Yeah, he's well.
Yeah.
I mean, even Low. I mean, I'd argue that the number 3's right arm is probably
playing low on,
maybe.
But yeah, that was a lot more clear cut than what I gave it credit for. I was actually shocked to see that.
Well, we both were a few sherbets deep though by then, weren't we? To be fair, I mean, you had a few, and we had a few.
Christmas, wasn't it? Right. So at this point, then Ash, we haven't. We're 2-1 up, and we spoke a lot about it being palpable around the ground and whether we're going to see how to win. I think we go back here now to Stevie's point about making substitutions to try and shore up a win. You know what I mean? We are an hour in. We've got to play it out for half an hour. Everybody's running in treacle. All right, there wasn't a lot of time between us scoring and them scoring. I think it was only about 5 minutes. However, making a sub that early wasn't even considered, was it? And I know it seems super critical.
No, I don't think that. It's getting to, and I agree with what Stevie said about the substitutions. It's getting to a point where I think he's got his preconceived or premeditated subs that he wants to do, and doesn't matter what's happening, then he'll do them at that time. But yeah, you can say, look, if it had gone longer, if they'd have scored in the 70-odd minute or 80th minute and stuff and substitutions, but 5 minutes after us scoring, it's probably a bit critical, but it's another soft goal though, isn't it? Another soft goal, and I mentioned it before, beat at your near post. It's being critical of a very, very good goalkeeper as well, isn't it? And we've just bigged him up for his distribution, but goalkeeper 101 is you got to save goals and save shots. You don't need to make assist here. Good with your feet, but if you can't get down low, then you've got a problem, haven't you?
If that's Orbath, we're skinning him alive, by the way. If that's Orbath, yeah.
There's been a couple of them. I think Ash brought it up a few weeks ago, especially the one against Watford in the last minute. I think Charles could have done better. There was one a couple of weeks later. I think, Ash, I'm sure you brought it up said exactly the same. If that's Orbath, we'd have crucified him.
Maybe that's just what we have to deal with, though. I think I've had this mentally myself. Well, not mentally, but you sit there and you think you're debating. Charles is not the finished article. He's amazing with his feet. It's like Paul Scholes in the net. But it's like Paul Scholes saving shots sometimes as well. And I think we're just going to have to live with that. he's not 100% finished article. He's amazing with his feet, but there's some ringers in him when it comes to shot saving, and maybe just have to bear that. I think that's what we've got.
I said sell him for £5 million last year and got crucified on the interwebs and by these pair of pricks and all, but I'm not going to talk about that. So right then, so we are 2-2, and that was pretty much how it played out. I thought. Listen to me. My mum would kill me for saying thought. I thought that I thought that McBurney should have had a bit of a kicking more from the referee. I thought his behaviour was disgraceful, and the fact that he came out online, Stevie, and made it sound like he was the victim, I think he gave as good as he got. I thought that was a really good, tasty, bit of back and forth. I don't agree with die, piggy, piggy, die. I find that a real classless chant, but that's what you're going to get if you're going to try and wind up the crowd. And now I'm going to say something controversial again. I wish that our players showed that much shithouse bite when we played them in November, when we played the Blades in November. Because you could see he fucking hates/loves playing Sheffield Wednesday.
I'd agree with that.
I agree with that. I agree with you. And you know what? We don't have that player with a nasty streak. And I don't know if we're conditioned as a fan base nowadays to accept or if we would be accepting of a player like that. And, you're talking controversial on the internet. I think that's a controversial take. We've gone over the last 2 years, our go-to for situations like that, and we call it shithousing, was always Callum Patterson. Yeah. Callum Patterson is nowhere near the same sort of realm as, a McBurney, shithousing, kicking, putting it on people and giving it some. Callum Patterson, bless his heart, fans' favourite, ran around like a I would say headless chicken, but a man possessed is a better analogy. But he was all over, up and around, getting himself in there, being physical, doing this, that, and the other. But he was never one for the dark arts, if you like. And it's been a long time. And, I can't think of a Sheffield Wednesday player in the last 10, 15 years that we've had off the top of my head now that I'd look at and go, he's a guy that's going to wind up the opposition to the point where they're now, getting irritated by him. Callum Patterson didn't irritate opposition fan bases. Other players that we've had don't do that. And I think that's something that we've been missing. I'd like to think we'll be in a situation where we can potentially get somebody like that. Is it my style of play? Not necessarily. Is there a need for it in League One? Yeah, quite possibly. So, is there any harm in going out and trying to source a player like that? I don't think so. At the end of the day, McBurney was a bit of an arse, weren't he? But Hull would argue that he was their arse, and that's why he's so revered by it. We don't have that. Yep.
I just nearly moved on there, Stevie. My apologies, but Tom, I wanted to talk about Onakwuli's cameo, his last 10-minute cameo. I fucking hell, I don't know what to say about it. It was the liveliest load of old shit. Like I honestly, right. So we spoke. Right, let me try and be measured about this. Right. So we spoke earlier on about I did about Svante Ingelsson not being very good at the football, but giving it everything that he could. Right. There was an element of that with Onakwuli. Right. So, he came on. He wanted the ball, lively as shit. Excited to watch. I was like, who the hell is this guy? And once again, it's an analogy I've used on the show before. It was like when you go to a country pub in the summer and there's a daddy longlegs on the urinal just dicking about. That's what it looked like, right? That's what it looked like to me. Didn't really achieve much, but fucking hell, that was exciting, wasn't it?
So I'll give you another analogy. A family that part of our family's got a puppy recently. It's a greyhound. It's not a greyhound. It's a whippet. It's a lovely little thing. It's about 9 weeks old, and we've got wooden floor in our gaff. And it came in the other day, and it's exactly what we saw. All motor, all four legs going, 100 mile an hour, loads of new smells, and it just ran straight into the conservatory door. That's exactly what we got.
Have you renamed him Onakwuli? Is that what you've done?
That's what we saw. He just ran straight into one of their big shit houses, and that. But he kept going. The ball stopped, and they counter attacked, and he was still running, opposite direction.
I was going to say exactly.
Hey, I love it, but that's pretty much sums it up.
We've had a couple of comments there. Speedboat, no driver. That's from Andy Osborne. There, I kind of I'm not digging him out. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely adored every second he was on the pitch. And God Almighty, I have never seen anybody scream at Barry Bannon to give him the ball. You know what I mean? Like that. It was absolutely incredible.
And we were both excited at the time. We both kind of went, ooh, and then
it's this guy. This is exciting. But this is exciting.
I totally get what you're saying, and Tom, the analogy it was exactly I had in my mind about like a puppy running around excitedly. But we've just said for the last God knows how many weeks, and we've moaned about substitutions and the lack of depth in the squad. We can't dig anyone out. We can't, especially anyone who's 17, 18, 19 coming on.
I loved him. I want to see more of him.
I know what you're saying, but I think, he showed. I'll tell you what, I know. He showed the right attitude coming on.
Yeah, he wanted the ball.
Absolutely.
He wanted the ball. It was available. And you've just, like you said yourself, Dad, about Svanti, who's been a pro a hell of a lot longer than he has. So, I think he showed all the signs I'd wanted to see from a young lad coming on for an appearance on a
and even if you think, is he 17, 18? Fucking hell, 17, 18. Can you imagine being on the pitch 17, 18 at Hillsborough? And
screaming at Barry Bannon.
You know what I mean? No wonder you're like, let's just go in. Pedal to the floor. Fair play, I enjoy seeing these kids. We've been crying out for how many years to get our academy through to the first team. So, let's do it.
Just to let you know, he turns 21 in April.
Brilliant.
Oh,
brilliant. So he was only 11 when Barry Bannon started playing for Sheffield Wednesday. He was just starting big school.
Sorry, I thought he was 17, 18. I thought he was a lot younger. But
it could be one of them African kids where it's secretly 37 as well. So you never know. You know what I mean? You don't know, man. Oh, that's going to get me in trouble. Let's move on to some comments. Izzy Lucas has said,
HR.
I'm going to run that by my by my person of colour friend to see if that's racist or not. Stevie. Right, listen. So Izzy Nicholas has said, I thought Otabeo did well not to react to McBurney. I completely agree. Fair play to him. But then again, that bloke seems to have I don't know if it's just the way he stands or what. He seems to have the anger of a potato, but we'll get back to that. And Craig Haywood's listed a couple of shithouses, all in their different ways. Maguire was a McBurney-style shithouse. He used to go down that route. I think Stockdale and Pato were very good at winding up. Windass wound them up in a different way. They're all very good wind-up merchants, all excellent at it, but I feel like they did it in different ways.
I think you could throw Sam Hutchinson onto that list. It wasn't quite a full McBurney-level shithouse, but Sam Hutchinson used to enjoy a bit of needle, didn't he?
Lumps. Oh, yeah, kicking lumps. I absolutely love it. And to wrap this game up, ladies and gents, we did have some statistics. In the first bit of it, we had we lost out on the possession stats, which is... rare? Is that rare? I don't know. Sometimes we seem to come out with a ridiculous amount of possession, and I assume that's us going for it the last 10 minutes. But they did have more shots on target. They did have more shots. They did have more expected goals, and the keeper made more saves. And no, they were a little better. But the concerning one from the statistics there is right at the bottom, saying 1-on-1 attempts. We had 2 to their 0. Were they our 2 goals, the 2 1-on-1s, you reckon?
Must be.
Yeah. I can't recall any. I can't recall anything else.
No, it can't be. They weren't 1-on-1s because Ingleson had the defender up his arse.
True.
So you can't say that was a 1-on-1.
So I
couldn't tell you where the other one were.
Oh, I'm gonna have to watch more of that game. I don't want to. Anyway, let's see you at the other side of this.
Don't skip ahead. Don't press that button. These ads are lean, not belly mutton. A tiny break before we pop. And don't forget when fun stops.
The issue is with that one is that there's a big dirty chorus about to kick in, and I've lost the audio now, and I don't know what that chorus is going to be. So that's annoying. But listen, the reason we've spoke about that game for so long is that not a lot happened in the following game against Blackburn Rovers. I will go into the predictions, Ashley. This is us full of too much Christmas dinner. You went
outstanding graphic, by the way. This outstanding graphic.
I was dead happy with it. I'll not lie. I was dead happy with it. Simon,
can I just mention Simon's eyebrows? They're a work of art.
Yeah. He's just had them done. He got himself a little eyebrow kit for Christmas. So you went for a Rovers win, Ash. I think there was only Simon backed us to win. I think there's only me went for a draw. Oh, Chaz went for a draw as well. So a bit of a mixed bag once again. I didn't know what to make of this upcoming game because Blackburn, on their day when they're really concentrating, can be shite.
Well, they were what I heard last night, and speaking to some people and stuff, it was like they were quite fearful of last night because they've got quite a few injuries themselves. They're in not the best form. I know injuries. Hey, well, they don't know about it, do they? So they were thinking, and to be fair to them, the visitors they brought over 2,000, I think it was as well. So that's fair play to them. But yeah, I went for a 1-0 because obviously I don't follow Blackburn. I don't know what their injuries, things like. It was only last night, which was obviously too late to change. But 1-0 loss. I thought we couldn't go 2 games unbeaten, could we?
Well, I don't know if we could. Listen, Steve, before I come to you, Steve, I just want to pull up this one. I've had a comment there from Gary Morton. Glad you support Wednesday, with a face plant emoji and some eyes. I assume indicating some kind of sarcasm. So, Gary, if you want to elaborate, you know what I mean. By all means, I tell it how it comes. I say how it comes. Now, this is the Blackburn lineup, Stevie. So, Charles, Palmer, Iorfa, Cooper, Otabayo, Amas, Thornton, Bannon, McNeil, Jamal, Lowe, Kadamatri. Kadamatri and Lowe being our preferred front two. You've also got Thornton there getting yet another start. However, there was a last-minute change. Have we had any word about why this happened? So Cole McGhee was brought into the lineup to replace Cooper, but Cooper made the bench, didn't he?
I'm going to be honest, mate. I don't know if Cooper did make the bench. I was looking at putting the list and all the stats and everything together last night when I got in. I'm not. If he made the bench, then fine. My understanding
he did
is that what happened was he's had a reaction to some medicine. I think it was reported that he's on. I'm assuming he's taking some sort of medication to keep his levels where they need to be. Obviously, would all be tried and tested and ratified by the EFL and whatnot. But he, by all accounts, has had a negative reaction to some medicine which has taken him out. But I think it was Joe Cran that said that you take it into consideration that he's played as much football as he has in a relatively short period of time. That's going to take its toll as well. Disappointed to see him out. I thought he was our best player against Hull. I said that on the internet over the last few days. I think he's been a really sort of calming and refreshing, if you like, influence on that back line. And it's a shame that him and Lowe aren't currently playing together. I think the impact that you can see from Cooper's involvement around Iorfa has been really positive. Iorfa's he's very easy to get after at the moment, isn't he? But I think in the last couple of games he's done quite well. I thought he was very good last night for what he has been, and I said that to Ash at the time. But then we've got McGhee that's coming, and I'm hopeful that we'll be able to give him his flowers for 5 minutes or so, because my goodness, for a young kid to that's really spent the last sort of 3 months running up and down the pitch, getting stripped and putting his pads on, and then not getting brought on to put him straight in there on a game like that last night. I thought he was excellent, given everything that, if you take all things into consideration. It was a fantastic debut, and fair play to the kid. We will potentially talk a lot about academy prospects and the need for developing our infrastructure and the academy not being right. But if you take a moment to think about it, we've got 2 lads on the bench at 17-year-old one of them is being chased by Man United, and then we've also put in Weaver. We've got Charles in goal. We've now got McGhee. Thornton's played 2 games. These are academy prospects that we're bringing through, and circumstances are forcing them to be where they are at the moment. But my goodness, I thought he was absolutely fantastic last night.
It was. Tom, Cantwell had one that went blazing past the post earlier on, but I thought this is where McGhee turned up. There was one where I think it's Ohashi, when I thought he was clean through. For me, it was a formality for him to finish. And the way that McGhee got goal side of him and kept harrying him, and it ended up going out. I thought that was, for such a young man, this is a 19-year-old kid who's only had 3 first-team appearances for Chorley in men's football, really, as all of a sudden pull out some of one of the best stops I'd seen in that game.
And I think what I liked about him, he just did the basics really well. It almost like Pedersen's chat to him before he got the start was, just go out and do the basics right. And you'll be there or thereabouts. And I think that's exactly what he did. I think there's a comment just gone that's in there that's it just got moved up, but it's right. He was excellent, but he was excellent just doing the correct things last night. Being goal side, following his runners, tracking back when he should have done, not losing his man at a set piece, and he didn't put a foot wrong. But he also, he didn't blaze the world of light. But actually, I'm all right with that. I loved it. Because he was solid. That's what you want as a left centre half. Quick ball out, done, not messing about with it. Covered his centre halves when he needed to, and he was flawless, but in a way that was really, really. I don't want to use the word uninspiring because that's not right, but he just didn't put a foot wrong by doing the things right.
I completely agree.
That's all you want.
Just a real vanilla but functional performance.
Is it like you see when they say about the ref? If you don't notice the ref, he's had a good game type of thing. Where like people talk about the ref because he's had a shocker or whatever.
Yeah.
If you don't talk about the ref, like we didn't against the Hull, we didn't even mention him once. Then he's had a all right game. So it's that sort of thing. Just on the challenge what you mentioned then, what McGhee, I thought it was outstanding, to be honest. It was well behind him. The ball came in from our right hand side, and for everything, the guy looked virtually 1-on-1, and he made the ground up, and like I said, just used his strength, didn't dive in, which he could have done as inexperienced centre half, and just used his strength. And I thought he was really good defending, and echo everything you just said about him.
Yeah.
Now listen, this game was 0-0. Right, there was a couple of talking points. There was some great set. There was a couple of good saves from Charles. There was one where he dived down to his right and ballooned it and pushed it to the right of the post, and then in the resulting corner, Baraji, I think his name is, the ball got played out and ended up ballooning one over. They had an opportunity to score a number of times. Rodar look might seem like a needlessly harsh thing to say, but there's a couple of things that I wanted to just pick out on. There was also one where Ohashi had a free header, blazed it wide. Todd Cantwell tried one in a long-range deflection, but there was 2 Sheffield Wednesday points, Ash. One of them being Otabeo with about 3 minutes to go. Oh God, there's times like I've played football at varying levels, and there's times when you can't swing a boot at something, and when you're close to the goal, it's one of the most frustrating things in the world. But that Otabeo chance was tough to watch, wasn't it?
Harder to miss. I think I said to your Kev, harder to miss than it would to score. You just went,
Fucking hell.
So
Ash, what about you? What did you see that one?
I don't know. I think it come at him, and it's like he's a centre half in. The play was on his back as well, so he'd have felt him. Probably, yeah. You want to swing a leg at it. And
it's like one of them. If it was at the edge of the 18, you'd have gone, "Oh, that's unfortunate." But because he stood in 6-yard box, you know what I mean? It makes it worse, doesn't it? That, and he plays like Craig Hayward says, anyone apart from a centre-back scores that. And then, Stevie, there was the one where I think it was Thornton played the ball to Bannon, who was, I want to say clean through, but there was still a lot of work to be done in terms of how far out he was. And I think he kind of did everything right that Bannon would have done. But that was a tough watch. I don't think I breathed the entire time that ball was in the air.
It's difficult. It was on when I was talking about the Kadamaki one. It's almost like the same sort of situation. He had a decision to make, didn't he? And he's decided that he's going to try and lob the goalkeeper. Should he have played it on the ground potentially? Should he have tried to take it forwards and then slot it home and place it? I don't know. Look, at the end of the day, Bannon has scored some fantastic goals and has scored a fantastic goal this season against Norwich. And who are we to question his judgment? You know, he thought that what he was doing was the right thing. It wasn't quite as far off target as, I don't want to drop Ash in it, but Ash was like, oh, he's made a dog's dinner of that last night.
It was fucking right.
Ash, man, what happened to your New Year's resolution? Yeah,
Number one in the box.
Chili shot.
Honestly,
I'm just going to start on more negative.
He turned the air blue, and I was.
He was still 40 yards out though, wasn't he? When he kicked it, like, you know what I mean?
It was a distance out, and you know what? He was. You look at his body language afterwards. He was angry with himself for what happened, and I don't think he's quite done what he had hoped he would have done. And I'll say it, and Ash will 100% disagree with me. I think 8 times out of 10 he scores that chance. It just so happens that last night it was one of the 2 that he misses.
He was in the box when he hit it as well, so he wasn't a fair distance out at all. So,
was it not? He claimed it. But that makes it difficult to lob. You know, it goes back to what Steve was saying about the choice you make on whether you finish it. You know what I mean?
Should have hit the target. Should have scored.
I mean,
it cost us all 3 points last night. Captain cost us all 3 points. Right?
I mean, to be fair,
the dire situation we're in, we need all the points are gone. You're supposed to rely on your captain, and that's what he's done.
Jesus, Ash. There's people screaming at their radios now. Craig Hayward's gone. It's not New Year yet, so you can get your ref in and Jeff in out. So that makes it all right. Oh, Christ. Listen, there
was one more chance that well, half a chance. Ball came out. Somebody should have a shot. And I think Thornton got hold of it and absolutely drilled it, and it was flying, and it clipped a kid on the head and sent him some assaulting. But he could just he caught it perfect. It'd have gone on target. So that close, but yeah.
But according to Ash, it was still the captain that cost us 3 points there, Tom.
Apparently.
Yeah. Breaking news. Let's get into the statistics, Stevie. So, on that one, they beat us across nearly every metric. But the interesting one on the first one is the XG, we had 0.5. They only had 0.7. So it's not exactly prolific in terms of goal scoring opportunities, but they had 26 touches in our box to our 9. And only had an XG of 0.73. So Blackburn are shite. And the shots that they had to 14 to our 5 is absolutely nuts. We didn't have one shot on target. So we're back, kids. We're back. It's happening. We're back. And but apparently you had a one-on-one attempt, which I must assume would have been Bannon's if that counts. But I don't know how this works anymore. I don't know how this metric works. Do you feel like 0-0 was a correct result?
It was a bad game of football, though.
It was utter shite.
That exhale of breath that you've just given there, if you'd have just stopped there, do you feel like 0-0 was? That basically describes the game last night. Nothing, having analysed it for 10 minutes, there's nothing there that I look back at other than McGhee's performance. I thought McGhee, I'm assuming he will get man of the match and deserves a lot of plaudits, and God bless him. It was a dire 0-0, but it's a game that he will remember for years to come. I won't remember this game in a week's time. It's one of those that, it's 0-0, and fair play to us at the minute. The interesting thing was, at full time, I've looked down the south and the fans have stood up and arms have gone in the air, and the number of people that have celebrated a draw as if it was a win was really sort of stark.
Kind of
And
nice,
I think
isn't it?
It is. Do you know what, mate? And that's the point I'm trying to get to. Is it's shit. It's absolutely shit. But
and we've all come away with a positive there. That there is a point on the board in 2 games.
100%.
If anything, I'm kind
and
of
we're
pissed off
unbeaten. Yeah, we're beaten in 2. We kept a clean sheet last night. That's the sad thing when you take it all away. That's where we are at the moment. And if we can do that another 7 times, I think it is now. If we get 7 more draws this season and finish the season on 0 points, people are going to laugh at us, and other supporters will get in and start digging us out. But we know what we are. We know where we are. We know what we've got going on. If we finish the season on 0 points or above, that's success for Sheffield Wednesday in 2026. The 25-26 season, we are going down. I don't think we're going to bring any players in the next month or so. I think there's too much to go under the bridge, under the water, through whatever the analogy is. We've got too much to happen in the next month or so for us to be able to make sweeping changes to the squad. We've got to get to the end of the season in some sort of shape and be ready for League One and see where we are from there. If we get to 0 points, that's a successful season for us.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. But I do need to caveat that game with the fact that we are unbeaten. Come on, up the Wednesday. But
get it.
Come on. But there is a really sad moment, and I feel like I need to say this out loud now, ladies and gents, if you are listening. I feel that, especially on Boxing Day, there was nearly 28,000 people at Hillsborough. Great turnout, amazing. And I'm a little bit vexed. I'm in fact, frankly annoyed that we didn't sing "We Scored a Goal. How shit must you be? We scored a goal." I mean, come on now. This is something. This is football heritage and I feel like we should be doing this a lot more, ladies and gents. It's something that we should be very much driving home. And according to Ash, Barry Bannon cost us 3 points, but Dunderbird says that 0-0 would have been fair had it not been for Tabeo's missed sitter. So you know what I mean. It's not Bannon Ash apparently. Let's move on to our final moments. I do need to bring up that Kadamatri shared it on his Instagram as well, and he's up front with Patrick Bamford in the Team of Boxing Day. I feel like this is normally called Team of the Week, but it's Team of Boxing Day. That rattle off the tonga.
I mean, our Windass is not in that team just for celebrating that penalty. I'm a bit vexed at because he should have made that just for his celebration against them.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. And Ashley, we've got some any other business, I believe. Aren't we giving some things away?
Not for me. I think it's Stevie Spencer's baby this time.
Oh, but you're normally the charity guy. So are we going to the gambling officer for giving things away? What do we have to put on the line to win, Steve?
Nothing. Nothing, mate. Get the graphic up for me, please.
I'll get the graphic up for you. I'll get ready here.
Thank you. Very, very generous donation from one of the members of the TWW from the LMS chat for the TWW Together Community Initiative. No strings attached. We have an adult and a child's ticket going for the Brentford game on the 10th of January. As I said, there's nothing that you need to do other than to get in touch and say, I'd like to be considered for it. And you know what we're going to do is we're just going to draw it at random, and we're going to give away a couple of tickets to go down and watch some Premier League team at Hillsborough, because it may be a long time before you get to see it, unless we draw somebody else in the cup. As part of it, what we'll do is we will draw in, we will include a little bit of money for you to get yourself a programme and a pint or a pint of Bovril, whatever it is that floats your boat. But keep looking out. 2026 is going to be big for us. I sat at a table last night with our good friend Ash, and we did the workings and the maths, and we realised that Easter eggs are right round the corner because and the conversation, and I'm going to say this now, the conversation last night was between Ash and his lad was, he's going to hate me for saying this, he's gone, oh shit. So the games that we are looking at go right back to February. And his lad turned to him, Lewis turned to him and went, but we're going to have all this chocolate in front room for the part of 2 months.
When the eating's on.
So then they started talking about getting one of those big supermarket, like the bread cages where you go and get them. So that's how they're going to start. And this is already going through his head now. And then he's turned around and gone, well, he gave a number based on what we gave last year, what we raised last year, or how many were donated last year. Ash has got a number in his head. I'm not going to tell anybody what that is. I'm going to leave that for him. And we might get to it after. But it's big.
If you want to beat 1,000, you're on crack.
4 digits. 4 digits.
Yeah. If you want 4 digits, you're on crack. But yeah, so we'll be collecting your Easter egg soon. But like I say, if you do want to get in touch to win or the draw for these 2 tickets against Brentford, please get in touch. All of our contacts. So, is it any specific medium, email, inbox?
Mate, all we've done is we've said you can get in touch with us via any inbox, or if you want to drop us an email. I think, interestingly, the majority of the interest has come from Facebook, Instagram, and email. So it doesn't matter where and how. You don't have to like us. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to comment. You don't have to do anything. What we want to do is we want to give away some tickets. And I will say this, the response has been really, really good. So we're going to do this again fairly soon afterwards. We just want as many people to enjoy the race to 0 points as
Race to 0 points.
Oh my God, that's going to be the name of next week's episode. Tom, they've heard Stevie and Ash talk about themselves and where they get all of them on various Instagrammings and Twitterings. What about yourself? Tell me about calling Mr. Meadows. And not like anybody doesn't know, by the way. I've noticed that fans of other clubs have started to get in touch as well now.
Oh, mate, it's I've had I'm just looking at what shirts I've got in here to do this week. We've got a Man United one to sort out that somebody's buggered up with a dodgy print. We've got I've had a Leeds one to sort out. It's great. I mean, it's not the full-time job, believe it or not, but it's pretty much there. We've got we did about the best part of about 300 shirts for people last year. I say me. 300 shirts and God knows how many bits of training kit and T-shirts and all that sort of stuff, and it's just Tom, phenomenal.
The drill tops are creeping back in, aren't they? They're coming back in, the drill tops. I think that if there's anything that the club need to do is bring back those 90s drill tops.
I said this the other week. If we get bought out, and if it was Mike Ashley, hey, get this for a tedious link. If it was Mike Ashley, I believe Mike Ashley owns the rights to Umbro distribution. So. For one wish, I wish Mike Ashley would buy us just so it'd go, Umbro, you lot are having Umbro, because the Wednesday dads would just be buying drill tops.
It would be a lot of dads buying drill tops. So where can we find you on the Instagrams?
Yeah, get me on Instagram, call him Mr. Meadows. You just type it in, I'll be up there spouting nonsense. You can get me on X, at Chef Tom Burton. Yes, I used to be a chef. For those wondering why the handle is Chef Tom Burton.
I thought it was because you were cooking up a storm.
Cooking up constantly. So drop me a DM and shout up. You can also find me on eBay. So I do most of my shirts that I find, repair, flip, print up, tend to go on eBay. If you see them on Insta, you think, oh, that's tidy, drop us a DM. You can probably get it at a sneaky little discount. And come and have a chat. And I'm always open for chatting anyway. And if I can just plug the book, we're into the new year.
Oh,
so
God, of course.
I want to try and get this published after Easter. It's a book of which the genesis of it came around because we've got some amazing Wednesdayites with some amazing stories about their shirts, and it's unbelievable tales of where they went to the first game, where the first shirt came from, how they fell in love with the blue and white. So I thought I'm going to put a book together in the new year. So I'm about 40 stories in. I want to try and get as close to 100 stories as I can. So if you want to tell me all about, and then thus tell all the Wednesday world about your Wednesday shirt, your favourite Wednesday shirt, the favourite first time you wore it, favourite match you wore it at, drop me a DM and I'll send you some details how to get in touch and put your story in the book. And we're going to try and get this published into the spring next year. Amazing work. Get in touch with calling Mr. Meadows on Instagram or Chef Tom Burton on X. Ashley, before I do the closing comments, are you gonna wrap us up with your bits?
Oh, wrap us up with bits. Yeah, I've just got a quick just to thank you. Last week I won a competition from Mr. Vegas, the sponsors of the club, and that's where me and Stevie last night and our kids had the pleasure of having hospitality for the Blackburn game. So we were in the posh sheets last night in the padded seats. So yeah, just a big thank you to them. It was and the club as well. It was a fantastic evening. Made the 0-0 draw a lot better looking through beer goggles, should I say? So yeah,
you made it
on sandwiches.
It was painful.
Listen, you get a lot of food. You get a lot of food, don't you?
Yeah, do it. Yeah,
anybody interested? Just to let you know. Sorry, I know it's your bit, Ash, but my God, we had we had bread on arrival. There was an amuse-bouche. There was a selection of starters. There was the main, then the dessert, all table service. And then we had, at half-time, we had pork pie. And then we had sliders at full-time. And my goodness, I came home thoroughly stuffed.
I'm not going to make an inappropriate joke. No, I've done really well. Listen, thanks a lot. And like I say, right, Craig Haywood's put a comment there saying with tonight being the last pod before the new year, just a quick thank you to you guys who bring this to us every week, and efforts in the community is always class. Well done, guys. I appreciate that. The stuff we do for the community is always my favourite thing to do. Purely because it's Ash that does all the planning and I just turn up, but or sometimes don't even do that. But also it's something that makes it bigger than just us spouting off absolute nonsense on a Monday. And I really enjoy that we've got this bigger community. Now, there's this weird thing where the online community has been so fractured over the last 6 to 8 months. It's been difficult to be online, but we're also in this weird little community where we're kind of all slagging each other off, but then we're kind of nice to each other 2 days later. It's so weird, and I absolutely adore it right now. I don't know why. The Christmas brandy's got into everybody, but I'm really enjoying doing something like this right now. And 2025 has been absolutely nuts for us in terms of what we've done. But I'm going to have to try and list it at some point, in terms of some of the stuff that we've managed to pull off. But listen, guys, thanks a lot. I hope you have an amazing new year. I hope the football gets better at some point in the future. I hope we get the best owner we've ever had come through the door. I hope all the right choices are made, and I hope you get proper boshed up on New Year's Eve. It's been an absolute pleasure to be with you these last 15 years, and since then I've had 16 new foreheads and an extra 4 teeth added, I think, at this point. I've been a size 40 waist. I've been a size 34 waist. I mean, there's a lot going on.
It's like Trigger's broom.
I honestly, yeah, my forehead and my teeth are like Trigger's broom. I'm gonna leave it on that. Thanks a lot, folks. Have a good new year, and we'll see you next year. See you later.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday Week. Bringing you football analysis.
They said we'll win the league next season.
Bringing you modern references.
I did a little 1920s fist pump there. Not done that in a while.
If we could do just a 1-to-1, not me because it'd last 7 days apparently, like Craig David.
I should not have said that. I should not have said that.
This shows like you're mental. No, I'm not.
Clip that.
Bringing you terrible impressions.
Wibble, wobble, wobbly, wobbly, wibble, wobble, Cyber Jordan. When, hey, you got to play a 4-4-2. I don't know where these jokes are coming from.
Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there, podcasts, etc.
The award-winning Wednesday Week. Join us.
Put on your podcast!